reporting nothing short of live from my dad's home office, which if you saunter over to youtube.com, if you subscribe to my channel, which will be linked in the description of this episode, you will be able to drink in all its glory, in the entirety of its glory. So that, wish I hadn't used entirety just now. That's entirely up to you. And welcome in. Thank you everyone so much for coming. I don't have a game plan at all right now. I'm like the Golden State Warriors last night against the Denver Nuggets. I guess they thought they had a game plan. I guess they thought they had something to bring to the table. And, their game plan worked a little bit in the first quarter and parts of the second. And then the Denver Nuggets, led by Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, just said, you know what? All right. They were like playing against a kid's elementary school team, and they were like, we're done with this. Like, we just want to go home. We're just going to beat you. And they just had no answer. And this sort of got away from me. But I don't have a game plan right now. But I did go to the beach on Friday. And it was so phenomenal. It was so phenomenal. Like, I wasn't sure, like, these winter months, I know everyone's like, isn't it hot and sunny in California all the time? It's like, newsflash, that's, Philadelphia. Newsflash, that's Philadelphia. Like, it's not always hot here. It's not always sunny. In fact, the sun has just been absent, it just called in. It was like, hey, like, I'm not really gonna make it into February. I don't know if someone can cover my shift. And like, this guy was like, well, you're kind of like the only one, like, no one else can really do your job. And in that way, the sun is Nikola Jokic. Sort of everything goes back to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. But yeah, the sun was just like, look, like, I'm just like, I need a minute. And yeah, it's been super just like rainy, dark, gray, which is fine, like seasons, that's life. But yeah, I saw on Friday it was going to be like 74, and it didn't even have the sun emoji, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to the beach. Like, I'm just making it work. And okay, so as I was leaving, I was sort of like organizing some stuff, and I had found, I don't even know when I found it. I mean, I assume sometime last year, this large shell that I keep like some earrings and rings in that I no longer use. Like, I don't know what to do with my jewelry. Like, I truly haven't worn a shred of it since I saw that damn TikTok about Carolyn Bessette Kennedy in December. But actually on Friday when I went to the beach, I wore, like, I have this little diamond butterfly necklace that I actually did wear. And I don't know, that felt more like spiritual than anything. Like, I just kind of wanted to have that on like this special day. It was the day before the full moon. And so that was less like about jewelry and more just about like the butterfly. But that, I think, was the first time I've worn jewelry in like 3 months. So whatever, I have this shell that I got that it's big, it's large. And, like, I use the open side of it for little trinkets and whatnot. And it's like not a perfect shell. Like, it's cracked on top, and I don't know, like sorry, I just got distracted by a dove, like literally flying. Like, I was like, is it gonna fly into the window? Like, it was like coming at me. She's so cute. Okay. So this shell is like broken. It's not perfect. The top is like all chipped, but it was in a way at the time where I was just like, I don't really mind. Like, I don't need things to be perfect. And yeah, that's fine. It's so big. I feel like it's like a perfect thing to put stuff in. Okay. I mean, so much has changed. Like, I've changed. We've all changed. The seasons have changed. The Denver Nuggets have not changed. They're still incredible. But I was just like, as I was leaving to go to the beach, and I will hurry it up, I feel like we're okay. You know what? We're like the Nuggets last night. We're just getting a slow start. We're just easing into the game, and we are ramping up for a fiery end of second quarter. So I'm looking at this shell. I was like organizing stuff, and I was like, you know what? I was like, this shell has been bothering me, I realized, for a really long time. Like, it just doesn't spark joy. Like, it doesn't, like, it's just off, and I don't really want it anymore, and I don't really need it, you know? Like, I have so many things to like keep stuff in. Like, I feel like if I'm not loving it, if it's not like speaking to me, why keep it? So I then, in the next second, had the absolute brilliant idea. I was like, I'm going to the beach. I'm going to return this shell to the sea. Because sometimes, like, I have so many shells, and sometimes I'll start going through them. I'm like, okay, I don't need this one. I don't need this one. And I don't know what to do with them. Like, you know, I'm not always going to the beach. So I sometimes, like, will just set them out on, like, I don't know, like a little banister outside of an apartment, you know, so people can like stumble upon them. I don't know. I don't know what I've done with them in the past. But I was like, I'm going to return this one to the sea. You know, like, if I don't want it, there's no reason why. It's like, I'm not going to throw it away. That feels so wrong to me. And as I was leaving, like gathering my stuff, I was like, you know, resisting. Like, I had this moment of like, like, should I just keep it? Like, it was unconscious. Like, it didn't come to the front of my mind, but I was like, should I just keep this? Like, is it good enough? You know, or like, I'm like, well, now that I'm like going to get rid of it, like, I'm attached to it, you know, and something in me just grabbed it. And I was like, I'll figure it out there. Like, just take it. I get to the beach, just immediately find a parking spot. Like, oh my God, I can't even talk about my parking spot vibes. They've been absolutely immaculate, really the key to it is just like not stressing about it. Like, you cannot go into a situation like visualizing your failure, like being like, it's so hard to park, like there's not gonna be anywhere to park. It's like, yeah, not with that attitude. So I don't even ever think about parking. Like, I just go and like spots appear. I parked and I didn't even think about it. I took the shell. I'm walking up to the beach. I'm scouting a spot. And like, you know, the incredible thing about the beach is that every session is different. Like, the water's different every time. The tide is different. Like, where you sit is different depending on where the water's coming up to. And so I really should learn this. Like, I'm like, is high tide, like in my mind, high tide and low tide are kind of like the opposite of what you think it is, kind of like stage left, stage right. It's like, I don't know. The tide to me was high. So probably it was low. And so I was like going to be sitting closer to the water than I usually do. And before I even laid out my towel, I like had walked up to this part of the beach where I stumble upon like so many huge I stumble upon a really huge shell. It's broken. I take my shell that I'm like returning to the library. I'm returning it to the ocean, and I put it down next to that other shell. I'm like, there, this feels so good, you know? The next thing I know, I look, there's just a million large, perfect shells. Like, I truly found 5 that weren't cracked. I was like, holy shit, what's happening? Holy shit, what's going on? No sooner had I released this imperfect shell that just wasn't speaking to me anymore. I was just like, I settled for this because like it was big, but it wasn't right, you know? And I did it probably out of fear. I know I'm taking this like pretty far, but I did it out of fear because it's like, well, it's big, you know, like what if this is probably the best I can do. And the second I put it down, so many better ones appeared before me. And then I found just the mother of all mothers, like this large, like, you know, those snail shaped, like, twirly ones, the biggest one I've ever found. And I was like, I hadn't even put down my towel, bitch. Like, I had my sandals in my hand, my water, this, that. Like, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, I need to sit down. I took my treasures and I sat down and I laid them out. And then like I laid out my stuff and I went searching a little more because yeah, every beach session is different. It's like I'm not always getting shells when I go to the beach. And you know, I told my sand dollar story where it's like one day I was finding so many sand dollars that I was actually sort of like not like getting bored of it, but I was like, okay, like we got it, sand dollars. And then it's like, I haven't seen a sand dollar since then, you know? So it's like, you know, and last time I was inundated by ladybugs, like, oh, and this time when I set down my towel, a ladybug flew onto my towel and I was like, oh my God, they're back. But then it was just that one and I never saw another one. You know, sometimes it's, you know, a dolphin session. Sometimes it's whatever. It's like, it's always different. So it was so crazy. I found like this really cool piece of like clear sea glass and just really cool pieces that like I didn't have, you know, like I'm trying not to just like take shells just to take them. I'm like, wow, I don't have one like this. Like it was like perfect and white. And that, but then it had these like blue streaks on it. Like it was seriously like tie-dyed. And then I went back and got my shell that I had brought to return just so I could really see like, wow, this is what I gave up. Like you have to give up something good to get something great. And I really just wanted to like cement that into my mind. And yeah, it was unbelievable. Okay. Welcome into episode 145, is it? This might just be a short episode. Like, I might just get in, get out. I don't want to talk about the Denver Nuggets again, but much like they did in Golden State last night, they're like, okay, we came to San Francisco and like now we're going home. Like, we're not staying tomorrow to like fucking walk around. Like, we're just leaving. But yeah, I am going with my dad in a little bit to look at flooring. I don't think I've ever looked at flooring before because, there was like a bunch of like rainstorms a few weeks ago and my dad's back room like completely flooded and all the floors were ruined, but it's fine because they were so fugly anyways. Like, I don't know. And my dad had admitted, he was like, yeah, like I really didn't like those floors. So, you know, once again, just sort of like a blessing in disguise. It's like, yes, the room flooded, everything got kind of warped, if you will. But now, you know, like his insurance is going to pay to get better ones. So I'm going to go with him because I just don't quite trust his direction at this juncture in time. And I'll just see what I see. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to have new experiences in February, like sort of anything that comes across my desk, like not if it's inconvenient or I absolutely don't want to go, I just say yes to. You know, like I don't know. It doesn't even matter. It's not interesting, but yeah, it's like it's sort of just like do opposite. It's like what would I usually do? It's like, yeah, I'd be like, okay, that sounds cool, but I probably won't go. But now I'm just like, so just go. Whatever, we already know this. I don't know what else. I don't want to talk about a man I saw drinking out of a water fountain the opposite way on the hike. I don't want to talk about that, but I guess that's all there is left to talk about. I always like, and I didn't always used to stop at this water fountain on the hike because it is just a classic case of water fountains, in my opinion, that there are always yellow jackets around them. Like, I don't drink from water fountains because it's like they're always guarded like the damn White House by like 7 yellow jackets. And I'm like, I don't want water that bad. and it's always a yellow jacket. It's not a regular bee. It's just like these bright electric yellow jacketed bitches, and they're just like not leaving. But I don't know, there hasn't really been any yellow jackets, I guess. So I have been getting sips of water from the water fountain. And like, I don't know if I've talked about this, just, I don't know, keep me in your prayers if I have, but I'm just so absolutely fascinated and just like in awe of habits. Everything is a habit. Every single thing we do. So, yeah, and I guess I've been knowing it, but then like I heard Michael Porter Jr., he's on the Denver Nuggets on his podcast. I watched it on YouTube and subscribed. He interviewed Nikola Jokic, his teammate, and Nikola Jokic he doesn't do interviews. He doesn't go on podcasts. Like, he doesn't want to, he doesn't need to. But like, he's an amazing person, an incredible teammate. So he went on Michael Porter Jr.'s, and like, I saw that the video was like 40 minutes, and I was like, ooh. And then after like 19 minutes, the interview with Jokic was done. Like, Michael Porter Jr. was like, oh, like, thanks so much for coming. And I was like, wait, is the video wrong? Like, did they mess up the editing and the rest is just like a black screen? Like, what's going on? And then it just transitioned into Michael Porter Jr. just like riffing for 20 minutes. And I will say I was pretty high when I was watching it. I had taken an edible, but I was just like absolutely in a fucking trance. Like, he was just like, what he said, what the Denver Nuggets like team mentality is habits, not goals. And all of a sudden, everything in life made sense to me. Habits, not goals. It's like, when you have impeccable habits, when you practice things that are aligned with like what you're trying to do, you don't necessarily need goals. Like, the goals take care of themselves. It's not like, I don't know, like I used to always write like August goals, like, and do all this shit. And it's like, it's not about the goal. It's like, how do you spend your time? Like, how do you spend each minute? That will take care of the goal. If I'm like, I want to write a book, it's like, okay, like, great, but if I have a habit of writing for 2 hours every day, if I'm like writing a book for 2 hours every day, it's like, eventually I'm going to write a book. So it's like, instead of like focusing on these like lofty, just like, como se dice, like, it's like the goal is like one thing. It's like the end of it, and then it's done, and then you accomplish it. And I think that's why, like, in the past, it's like when I've accomplished goals, it's just like, it feels good for a moment, but then it's like, you get up the next day and you're like, okay, like, and you kind of feel like, damn, like, is this it? Because it's like, your habits are fucked. Like, all you were waiting for was that like one brief accomplishment. And it's like, it's crazy, but it's like, I don't know if anyone said this before, but it's like the journey is the main event, So yeah, he was just like, habits, not goals. And I've been like perfecting my habits, like tinkering with them, but now I'm just at another freaking level, because it's just like, your habits are either like making your life better or they're making it worse, and there really is no in between. Why was I talking about this? Oh yeah, because okay, so I now get water at this water fountain when I come to it at the hike. I always go to it the same way, right? Like, I always stand on a certain side of it, because that's how I see other people stand on it. That's how the side I've always stood on. And the other day, I saw this guy, he was in front of me, and he went to the water fountain, and he stood on the other side of it, and I'm not kidding, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, because it's like, I've been so conscious and like mindful of my habits, and I'm really, really just all about them. But I was like, there's so many oversights. Like, it is a habit of mine to just go to one side. And I'm really trying to just like do things the other way to make my brain like think differently. Like, a lot of times I brush my teeth with my left hand. I mean, that does hurt to say because I've always wanted to be left-handed, and I even like in high school would sometimes pretend I was left-handed. Okay, I'll be real, in college as well. Like, sometimes in college when I would see like a cute guy, I would pretend to write in my notebook with my left hand. Like, was I okay? No. Am I okay now? No, but it's fine. It's unique. It's different. But yeah, like, I brush my teeth with the opposite hand because, this is another one of these opposite things, like right brain, left brain, like which one's which? I don't know. But yeah, it's like fire up that opposite side of your brain, walk backwards, fire up that, different lobe, if you will. And when I saw this guy go to the other side of the water fountain, it really just like knocked me on my ass. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm doing that. And you just don't realize these little things that you just do the same every time. Like, I've been driving home different ways now. Like, if I always turn down one street, like, I'll go a different way, even if it's like a pinch longer. Because I'm like, I don't want my mind to be in a trance. Okay. All right. My scalp treatment is just the gift that keeps on giving. It's unfucking real. This is the week I really up my scalp game. My sister she's been doing like oiling her hair and like putting masks on it with like a whole thing with saran wrap for like a year, and her hair has completely changed. Like, it is so abundant, it's so bountiful, it's really shiny, it's really healthy. And my sister and I have different hair, so I'm like, okay, that's like her thing. Like, she had a really bad haircut last year and she was trying to grow her hair. And so like in my head, I thought that's what it was for. And I was like, I don't really need to like grow my hair, but then it's like, I'm now just waking up to that. It's so much more than that. And it's just scalp health. So I'm going to go over to her house either tomorrow. I'm trying to make my hair last till tomorrow because I'm going out to dinner tomorrow night. So maybe Wednesday. And if she's listening to this, maybe we can make a plan. Wednesday, I want to go over to her house and like have her just show me her step by step. Like, I know the products she uses, but like, yeah, just get really into that. I'm on the precipice of ordering a dry brush from Etsy. It's like, it's a busy time, all right? It's a busy time. And obviously, we've all heard about dry brushing for so long. I had bought a dry brush from IKEA that was like truly $1.99. It might have been 99 cents. Like, and I probably bought this 5 years ago, and it was like a tall one. And it just like, I had it standing upright on my vanity for so long. And it's like, I maybe used it once, and I don't know. There was just something about it that I never used it. And I was always like, should I just donate this? Should I toss it? And I couldn't do it. And then finally I was just like, okay, this was $1. Like, I hate it. This one just doesn't work for me. Like, it's not motivating me to make this a habit. And that's the other thing about habits is like, you have to set yourself up for them. It's like, if you want to dry brush every day, then you have to get a dry brush, And so I've been just on Etsy, just fucking getting after it, and I'll probably just pull the trigger today. And it's just such the thing where I'm just like, okay, I have a scalp massager, but I'm like, well, do I need a better one? And I'm like, if I get this, then I'm still short on shipping. So I would still have to pay the shipping. So then I'm just like, I think I'm just going to pay the shipping, and not get like things I don't need, even though it feels wrong. But yeah. I'll let you know how that goes. I'll let you know how the flooring goes. And, this is a packed week. I have a lot of stuff, new stuff. I'm Tuesday going out to dinner with my mom, and okay, whatever. My mom's friend and her daughter, who we used to go to elementary school with, but she left in 4th grade, but her mom and my mom are still really good friends, and I haven't seen her since I was like 10, and we're all going out to dinner tomorrow night. So like, okay. And then Thursday, I'm going to this like event for one of my sister's work. Like, why not? And Friday, I am going to Stretch Lab and getting stretched, because that's the other thing I've been upping, and I've been stretching my freaking ass off. And if you read David Goggins' book, which I ran into, well, not one of, someone a while ago told me they didn't finish the book based on my recommendation, and then I ran into another friend last week who said she didn't finish it. And I'm not saying I'm like looking at them differently, but I am, it's like I can't quite understand how you wouldn't be able to get through that book, but they'll do them and I'll do me. And me and David Goggins and Nicole Jokic will just have our habits and you have yours, and that's fine. But oh yeah, because David Goggins started stretching, and it's like my body is so stiff. Like, for all the freaking hiking I do, like I need to stretch. I just need to make time for it. And it's like something that in the past I've considered sort of like a luxury, like not an everyday thing. And it's like, this is maybe a twice a day thing, but I don't know if we have time for that. Oh God, I keep thinking I'm going to go. So I keep just like, what's it called? Fire round, lightning round. I don't know, like just blasting things off. But okay, I just finished the book, The Secret Garden, that like old book. I've had it since I was little. And at the end of last year, I was actually looking for it, and I was like, it just popped into my head, and I was like, wow, I really want to read that. I love my copy of it. It's like, I don't know, it's just all green and lush and hardcover, and it's just like, it's just pretty and relaxing. And I was like thinking about that book, and I was like, wow, I kind of want to read that. Who knows when I read that? When I was 5 in kindergarten, when I taught myself how to read, who knows, And so recently I found it. And I actually started reading another book, and it just like, it wasn't hitting. I was like, you know what? This is so much effort, and it wasn't that long. I read probably like 30 pages, and there was like only another 100 pages, but I was like, but for what? For why? Like, don't be a martyr. It's like, I'm not into it. Like, don't suffer through a book. And then I was like, it's Secret Garden time, and I plucked it from its garden, and holy shit. Like, I thought I was going to be like, okay, let's do like a light romp, like I've been reading some kind of like deep, intense things, which I really like, but I like to switch off back and forth, like I'll do a deep one, and then like I'll just go light as fucking hell, just airy. And yeah, this book was not what I remembered it to be. Like, I didn't expect it to be the most like just I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it truly just defined life and like vitality and just the power of nature and change, and essentially how everything is happening for you, not to you, even though it looks like it's kind of happening to you. And I don't know, how you can just truly become an entirely different person, how you can heal yourself from disease, like just through your mind, and just like doing different things and being outside and believing that you can. And this book knocked me back on my ass. And I was already down there from when the guy went the other way on the water fountain. So I was just like, wow, I guess I'm just going to stay down here, because I'm not ready to get up, and The Secret Garden was so good. It was so powerful. I was so glad I read it. Thank you guys. Subscribe, rate, review. The link for this episode on YouTube will be in the description, as well as the link for Patreon. Wouldn't you know? okay. Enjoy the last drops of February. February 29th, people are just really in shambles over it. Like, I feel like 9 people last week have been like, February is 29 days this year. It's like, bitch, don't tell me. I knew that last February. Like, you think I'm not looking at my calendar? You think I'm not writing in my freaking planner every night? I know there's 29 days in February. Please. I have a laser hair removal appointment that day. Like, I'm aware. Bye.